Ever notice how your mind feels like a browser with 100 tabs open? That was me 15 years ago, overwhelmed, unfocused, and constantly feeling like I was drowning in mental noise. But what if I told you that the solution wasn't some dramatic life overhaul, but something surprisingly simple? Imagine transforming your mental clarity, not through grand gestures, but through tiny changes so small they seem almost insignificant. That's exactly what happened when I discovered the power of atomic habits for mental clarity. And today, I'm going to show you how these microscopic shifts created the biggest breakthrough in my productivity and well-being. Think about this. What if clearing your mind was less about meditation retreats and more about how you organize your desk? What if mental fog could be lifted by changing when you check your phone in the morning? These aren't hypothetical questions. They're real solutions I'm going to share with you today. The science behind mental clarity is fascinating. Our brains process about 6,000 thoughts per day, but we're only consciously aware of a fraction of them. The rest? They're creating that mental static you feel when trying to focus. But here's the thing. Your brain is incredibly responsive to small environmental cues and tiny behavioral shifts. Let me take you back to 6 months ago. I was working on 3 major projects, juggling family responsibilities and trying to maintain some semblance of a social life. My mind felt like a blender on high speed, thoughts, worries, and to-dos all swirling together in a chaotic mix. That's when I stumbled upon James Clear's concept of atomic habits, tiny changes that compound over time. But instead of applying these just to fitness or productivity, I wondered, could these transform mental clarity too? The answer was a resounding yes, and the results were nothing short of transformative. So what exactly are atomic habits for mental clarity? They're small, intentional actions that reduce cognitive load and create space in your mind. Think of them as mental decluttering on a microscopic scale that adds up to massive change. The first atomic habit that changed everything for me was something ridiculously simple, a 5-minute evening reset. Every night before bed, I spend just 5 minutes preparing for the next day, laying out clothes, writing down my 3 most important tasks, and clearing my desk. That's it. But here's why it works. This tiny habit eliminated dozens of small decisions the next morning. No more standing in front of the closet wondering what to wear. No more starting the day overwhelmed by competing priorities. My mind was clear from the moment I woke up because I'd removed those small friction points. Have you ever noticed how decision fatigue creeps in throughout your day? By afternoon, your mental energy is depleted not from important work, but from hundreds of tiny choices. What if you could eliminate most of those micro decisions? That's what atomic habits do. The second game changer was implementing a capture system for intrusive thoughts. I kept a small notebook with me at all times. Whenever a random thought, worry, or to-do popped into my head, I immediately wrote it down. This simple act freed my mind from the burden of remembering everything. Our brains aren't designed to be storage devices. They're processing machines. When you try to hold on to every thought, idea, and reminder, you're misusing your mental resources. This tiny habit of externalization created immediate mental space. But the truly revolutionary part? I didn't even have to review those notes daily. Just the act of writing things down signaled to my brain that it was safe to let go of those thoughts. My mind became noticeably quieter within days. The third atomic habit that transformed my mental clarity was implementing a single-task focus block. For just 25 minutes each morning, I worked on one important task without switching contexts. No checking emails, no responding to messages, just one focused task. This might sound like standard productivity advice, but the atomic habit twist was making it ridiculously small and consistent. I didn't try to do this all day. just 25 minutes. And I protected this time religiously, treating it like an important meeting with myself. The magic happened when this tiny habit began to rewire my brain. I started noticing improved focus throughout the day, not just during my focus block. My mind learned that single tasking was possible and preferable to the constant context switching I'd been doing. Now, I want to address something important. Many of you might be thinking, I've tried habit changes before, and they never stick. That's because most people try to change too much at once. Remember, we're talking about atomic habits, changes so small they're almost impossible to fail at. For instance, another clarity-boosting atomic habit I implemented was a digital sunset 30 minutes before bed. I didn't try to ban all evening screen time. I simply set an alarm for 30 minutes before my bedtime as a reminder to switch to non-screen activities. This tiny change had an outsized impact on my sleep quality, which directly affected my mental clarity the next day. Better sleep meant sharper thinking, improved memory, and less mental fog, all from a 30-minute habit adjustment. What's fascinating about atomic habits for mental clarity is how they compound. Each small change reduces cognitive load a little bit, freeing up mental bandwidth. As these habits stack up, the cumulative effect is profound. Let me share a personal example. After implementing these atomic habits for just 3 weeks, I found myself able to solve complex problems that had stumped me for months. It wasn't that I suddenly became smarter, I simply had more mental space available. Another surprising benefit? Improved emotional regulation. When your mind isn't constantly overwhelmed by competing thoughts and tasks, you have more capacity to process emotions healthily. Small irritations that once spiraled into bad moods now barely registered. Now, let's talk about implementing these habits in your own life. The key is to start absurdly small. Don't try to reorganize your entire digital life or implement a complex productivity system. Choose one tiny change that takes less than 2 minutes to complete. For example, you might start with a mind dump at the end of each workday. Set a timer for 2 minutes and write down everything that's on your mind before transitioning to home life. This creates a mental boundary between work and personal time. Or try what I call a clarity trigger, a small environmental cue that signals your brain it's time to focus. This could be as simple as placing a specific item on your desk when you need to concentrate, or putting on a particular playlist that your brain associates with clear thinking. The beauty of atomic habits is that they work with your brain's natural tendencies rather than fighting against them. Our brains love patterns, routines, and small wins. By leveraging these tendencies, you make mental clarity the path of least resistance. I want to emphasize something crucial. Consistency trumps intensity every time. A 2-minute daily habit that you actually maintain will transform your mental clarity far more than an hour-long practice you do sporadically. Trust the compound effect of small actions. Now, I'm curious. What's one area where mental fog or overwhelm is affecting your life right now? Drop a comment below with the specific challenge you're facing, and let's discuss some atomic habits that might help you create clarity in that area. Remember, mental clarity isn't about emptying your mind completely. It's about creating the space and systems that allow your thoughts to flow productively. It's about removing unnecessary cognitive friction so your brain can do what it does best, think clearly and creatively. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. The quality of your mental space determines the quality of your life. By implementing these atomic habits for mental clarity, you're not just improving your productivity, you're enhancing your entire experience of being human. Your mind is your most valuable asset, These tiny changes are an investment that pays dividends in every area of your life. Start with one atomic habit today and watch as your mental landscape transforms, one small change at a time. What atomic habit will you implement first? The journey to mental clarity begins with a single, tiny step.